mountain friends, welcome to Mountain Cooking with Missy. Look here what I'm going to make for y'all today. A good old homemade banana pudding from scratch with meringue, just like Mama made. So I want to show y'all how to make it. It's really not that hard at all. So get ready, get your nanners ready. We're going to make a old-fashioned family dessert, y'all, that everybody's going to like. So let's get started. Hey mountain friends, hope everybody's doing all right. Hey, who's up for some good old banana pudding? Now, I grew up, my mama made banana pudding and she made it from scratch, and I'm going to show y'all how to make it from scratch. I have shared a banana pudding recipe with y'all before, making it out of instant pudding with some sweetened condensed milk, and that's the way I prefer it. But I've had a lot of people request that I make a from scratch banana pudding, and I can make them. I've made them before, mostly for people just requesting them because I prefer the other kind. But I'm going to make a from scratch banana pudding for y'all too, and I'm going to put a meringue topping on it and show you how my mama made it. Okay, this is just from scratch banana pudding. Now, some people like it warm. Where I'm from, I remember Mama making banana pudding usually for the holidays. Usually we had it Thanksgiving or Christmas or even Easter. We always gathered on Easter time, y'all. I grew up in the mountains of southeast Kentucky, and I had a bunch of cousins, and most of us was girls or just a few boys, and my mommy had a lot of brothers and sisters. All of us would gather in my mama's little house every time, in my mama and papa's little house for holidays. We'd have dinners, and Mama would make this, and when she'd make it, we ate it warm. So she'd make it, and she'd put it in the oven and put it under the broiler and get the meringue browned, and she'd put it right on the table, and we'd eat it warm. So I prefer it chilled, but I know some people like it warm. But either way you like it, it's still good old banana pudding, y'all. And I'm going to show you how to make it. So let's get started. All right, y'all, so we're going to get started on our pudding, and I'm going to tell you what you're going to need right off the bat. Let me see if I can get it. Yeah. You're going to need 3 cups of milk. Now, you want whole milk or evaporated milk. I prefer evaporated milk for pudding, like homemade puddings and stuff. And 2 cans of evaporated milk is about 3 cups, and that's what you're going to need is 3 cups of whole milk. You're going to need 3/4 cup of sugar, 3 tablespoons of flour. I'm using self-rising flour, it don't really matter, and 1.5 teaspoons of vanilla extract, a good vanilla extract. I don't know how many bananas I use. You can use about 4, maybe 5 good ripe bananas, but not overripe bananas. But you can use as many bananas as you want. And I'm going to use a box of vanilla wafers. And use whatever brand you want. I just get the Aldi kind. Now you're going to need 4 egg yolks for the pudding. You're going to separate these eggs because you're going to save the whites, okay? Because you need the whites for the meringue. So if you can, use fresh eggs. I get these eggs from a farmer nearby. These are fresh eggs. Look at that, it's a green egg. I got a green one. And these are large, and I'm going to show you how I separate my eggs. And they need to be room temperature if I hadn't already mentioned that. And if you use a good fresh egg and a room temperature egg, it's going to separate pretty easy. And I do it just like that right there. And separate them out and keep your whites separate for your meringue, okay? So I'm going to finish doing the rest of them, and we're going to cook our pudding. All right, y'all. So in my saucepan here, this is my cast iron enamel coated one that I love to use. And I want to get started with our pudding. A little bit of water in there. Let me get it out where I washed it. So you're going to put your milk in. Your flour. Now, I just want to say, if you don't want to use flour, you can use cornstarch. But this is 3 tablespoons of flour. I'm using self-rising. And if you don't want to use flour, you can use cornstarch. So what you're going to do, you're going to bring this up to a boil. You're going to cook it on about a medium heat until it starts to get bubbly. And when it gets bubbly, you're going to cook it for about 2 minutes. And once I cook it for about 2 minutes, I'm going to take it off the heat. And I'm going to take some of this mixture out and put it into my egg yolks, because I got to temper these egg yolks, okay? You can't put hot stuff right into your eggs or you'll get scrambled eggs and it will be a mess, okay? Oh yeah, and I about forgot my sugar. I'm going to put my sugar in. So I'm going to bring this up to a boil until it's bubbly, and I'm going to cook it for about 2 minutes. And you got to stir it constantly, okay? So this is boiling, it's bubbly, and I'm only going to let it go for about 2 minutes. And then I'm going to take it off the heat. So I'm going to set my timer for 2 minutes to take it off the heat. Now I removed the pudding off of the stove, off of the heat. And now what you got to do is you're going to put a little bit of your mixture. See, I got a little bit right here. This is, you're going to temper your egg yolks. So these are the egg yolks that I already beat. They've been beaten. And what I'm going to do, I'm going to start stirring. I'm going to put this into these egg yolks while I whisk the egg yolks. This is called tempering. So I whisk these egg yolks. Just like that. And it tempers them so it doesn't shock them and cook them. You don't want them cooked. See? And they're nice and smooth and they're tempered and they didn't cook them. And now you're going to add this. Now you're going to add your egg mixture back to your kettle. Of your pudding mix. Stir that right in. Now I'm going to put this back on the heat, and it's going to go back on the heat on a low, and I want to bring it back up to a boil just for a little bit, a gentle boil, and I'm going to let it come up to a gentle boil. Once it does, I'm going to let it boil for 2 more minutes, okay? And you're going to stir it constantly. All right, Alexa, stop. So, look at that, y'all. There's some good old homemade pudding. And it's smooth and creamy, look at that. So you want to take it off the heat, and I just did. Now is when you're going to add your vanilla. So 1½ teaspoons of vanilla extract and a tablespoon of butter, and I'm using unsalted butter. And you want to use a good vanilla because you want to get that good flavor. You want to stir that till your butter's melted. And there you go. Look at that. So good. I can smell it, y'all. It smells so good. Brings back memories. My mom made pies like this too. She made butterscotch and chocolate. And they always use a custard. This is a custard, basically, is what this is. A vanilla custard. So, all right, so I'm going to let it cool just a little bit, and then we're going to get started on our meringue. So now it's time to whip the egg whites, and I got my whisk attachment on my mixer. Put your egg whites in. You want to do a 1/4 teaspoon of cream of tartar. It just helps to stabilize the eggs. And you're going to do about a 1/4 cup of sugar. And you want to whip them to stiff peaks. This could take us, a few minutes. Just keep an eye on them. About another minute, keep an eye on it. So let me show you what the egg whites should look like. This is stiff peaks. See that? When they stand up like that, that's stiff peaks. And they're ready. All right, y'all, so pudding is ready. Now all I gotta do is get our nanners peeled, and I got my oven on broil, because when I put the meringue on, we're gonna put it under the broiler. Now, I know I mentioned some people like banana pudding warm, but we don't. So what I do is I broil it, get my meringue good and brown, but we let ours cool off, and then I put it in the refrigerator because we like ours chilled. And I like a good amount of bananas. I don't like no nanner pudding without no nanners, so I do put a good amount in them. Now you want to cut any bad spots out, and I just slice them in. This is 2 so far, and these are pretty good size nanners. And make sure you don't use too ripe of a one, because you don't want them to turn on you. But you want them flavorful too. So you want to spread these out. And I got my dish. This is about maybe a 9 by 7 dish. I don't know. It's not a 9 by 13. And if you want to double this recipe, you could. I mean, also give you another tip. If you think your pudding's a little too thick, you can always add a little bit more whole milk, or half and half, or even some heavy cream to make it a little creamier. Because I don't like mine real thick. So this recipe that I use, sometimes to me it gets a little thick. So you can always thin it down a little bit with some half and half, or whole milk, or even some heavy cream. Just makes it extra good. And if you think it's a little too thick, that's a little tip that I want to share. You can always thin it down, okay? And it'll still be good. Because where it's got the flour in it, if it's set, sometimes it gets a little too thick. And if you don't like that, just thin it down, and you won't change the flavor one bit, okay? Because when you let it sit anyway, it's still going to thicken up. So I'll just put my cookies down. Oh man, just as soon as you open them, Kenzie's over here. She likes nanner pudding. As soon as you open them, you can smell them.
I like a lot of
those. She was raised on these kind of cookies, and I would always put like a little slice of peanut butter, a little slice of banana on them with some peanut butter. And just make sure they're even as you can. Don't have to be perfect, don't matter anyway. It's all going same place. And if you're going to do this like in a dish, like a trifle dish where everybody could see it, some people like to do that, pretty layers where people can see it. Just then you can make it look more even, but yeah, more presentable. But since it's in this kind of dish, and I am going to be putting meringue on it, I have to have it in a oven safe dish. So I'll just pour. You're just going to pour your pudding right over it, and y'all, it smells so good. And like I said, make sure you use a good vanilla extract, because that's where you get your good flavor. Yeah, Kenzie's over here, her eyes are lighting up. And just make sure you put a good amount of good vanilla in there, because that's where you get that flavor at. And I just shake mine down. Then I'm going to repeat that until I get to the top. So my last layer is going on. See, good to the last drop. And I'm going to shake this down a little bit, and then we're going to top it with our meringue. All right, y'all. Looky there, looky there. It looks so good. It smells good too, y'all. When you cook the pudding like that, it just makes everything smell so good. You can smell that vanilla. So the egg whites are ready to put on. So you want to just pile them on right like that right there. And I go all the way to the edges. You're going to put this under the broiler, because sometimes when you put it under the broiler, it'll shrink a little bit. And go all the way. A little bit more. Yeah, there we go. Now, I just like to take my spatula and kind of do some little peaks, because that's what makes it look so pretty when you put it on broil. You got them swirls and swoops to make it look really pretty, like mama's. Okay. Now, this is going under the broiler just until it starts to brown. I don't like it too brown, but I'm going to put it in the broiler, under the broiler for just a few minutes, and y'all get to see what it looks like. All right, y'all, the meringue is browned. Look at that. So it didn't take long, so be careful not to burn it. So I'm going to let it cool off for just a little bit, and I'm going to stick mine in the refrigerator because we like ours cold. So we'll let it cool off for about 10-15 minutes. Then it's going to go in the refrigerator, and in about few hours, in just a few hours, we'll be able to tear into this, y'all. All right, y'all, look at that nanner pudding Daddy's gonna tear into it.
Y'all, this is my favorite. Missy's banana pudding. Mercy.
Good stuff.
That's good stuff.
Daddy approves.
Very much so.
Good old nanner pudding, y'all. Look at that.
I love banana pudding, y'all.
Good old homemade nanner pudding. That's just like Mama made with the meringue, everything. Cooked right on the stove. Old timey.
That's good stuff.
Good stuff.
It is.
All right, y'all. I will be sharing the recipe. Hope y'all try this nanner pudding. This is old timey kind.
Old timey.
Yeah.
Mountain Missy.
Mount Missy's. All right, y'all. There you go. Good old timey, old fashioned nanner pudding.
That's good stuff, y'all. Try it. You won't be disappointed.
Yeah. All right, y'all. Thank you for watching Mountain Cooking with Missy, or it's nothing fancy.
Just a clean bowl and good eating.
Just eating. He's gonna scrape the bowl. Bye, y'all.